Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Bashirs.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode number 163 of the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the three biggest problems that most veterinary practices face and how to overcome them when it comes to their digital marketing. I think this is going to be a really helpful episode. We're going to cover, again, the three most common problems. These are things that I hear every single day. So we're going to talk about how to measure ROI. We're going to talk about how to measure the effectiveness of your marketing. We're going to talk about how to overcome difficulties when it's related to creating content, and it's going to be just helpful to take your veterinary practice to the next level. So let's jump into today's episode. But before we begin, I want to mention a few things. First, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes or Google Play, and also be sure to join the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group. You can get help there. You can post and comment and collaborate, all kinds of cool stuff. So be sure to join that group. All right, let's jump into today's episode. There are some problems that are common that I hear every single day about digital marketing. And so we're going to overcome these problems. The first one that I think is probably the most common is when I talk to veterinary practices, they say, you know what, digital marketing is great, but this doesn't work, or this specific strategy doesn't work, or, you know, typically if you have some kind of marketing activities that you're doing, you will say it doesn't work. And let me tell you, with digital marketing, if you have clients who are people, and those people are spending time online, either on Facebook, Instagram, on Google, different platforms that you're using, if they're there, and I know that they are, that has the potential to work. So it just hasn't worked for you yet. And so if you're thinking of, how can I use digital marketing to grow my veterinary practice, and you're not sure what to do or how to grow your business, it just is a matter of figuring it out. So the first thing that you need to do, and I know this might sound silly, but if you have the mindset of, oh, it just won't work. There's no way that I can get that to work. I can't learn that. I can't get it through my head. It just is not going to work out. If you have that attitude, it absolutely will not work. Now, just having the right attitude isn't going to make it work either, though. So we need to first figure out and be very, very clear on what is the purpose of our marketing. There's two kind of big schools of thought when it comes to marketing. You have branding marketing, and then you have direct response marketing. And those are two different kind of strategies and tactics and things that you're going to be using for each one of those. Now, there can be overlap with direct response. You can use branding elements, and then also with branding elements, you can do direct response type things, but they're very different. So Facebook and Instagram and social networks, typically people aren't actively looking to find a solution unless they're asking for recommendations and things like that. It's not typically a place where people are just on there searching for stuff to buy, products or services to use, and things like that. So everybody knows this for the most part, and I know that it's been talked a lot about. But you need to really understand, you know, specifically what is the objective that we're trying to do. If it's more of a branding play, I think that it needs to be done on display networks where people are going to be able to see and engage with either their pictures or videos or content that you're creating. But if you're trying to do direct response marketing, I think you should be trying to find the customers and the clients that are actively searching out for a solution, that are transactional. It's like if you were to go up to your friends and you know they're vegetarians, and you're like, hey, I made this wonderful hamburger. I'm going to start a hamburger store, and I want you to buy it. Come and become a customer from my hamburger store. They're not interested because they're not in the market. And I'm not saying that people in Facebook and Instagram and all these other places are not in the market. They're just doing different activities there. So if you're going on Facebook and Instagram and you're not necessarily putting out offers that are like, hey, I want to catch your attention and capture your attention. Come and try me out. Come and try out my veterinary practice. You're not going to get typically the response that you would do if you have a group of people who are actively searching for and trying to find a solution to the problem that they have. And this is especially true for specific services, like if you offer cancer services, oncology services at your practice, or you offer specialty surgery services, you offer mobile vet services, and if you offer different kinds of therapies or rehabilitation, or whatever it is, people typically aren't looking for these kind of specialty services on Facebook and Instagram, but they do look for these services on Google. So you need to understand what is the objective and what is the purpose. And I 100% believe that Facebook and Instagram are extremely important, that you need to stay in front of your current clients and your current customers. But you're not actively, selling specific products and services to the same extent that you would is if you were on Google Ads and things. So you need to, again, figure out what is the end goal that we're trying to do. And then we need to find the right place, the right context to get that objective done. And that way, you're not saying, this isn't working. But if you are posting pictures of cute clients that come in, your cute kittens and cute puppies that are coming into your practice, and you're just posting pictures, you're not even doing a call to action, you're not doing a, education, you're not doing any kind of engagement other than just like and share the picture, you're not going to make money from that because it's just branding. You're getting awareness. You may get some clients coming in. You're definitely going to get likes and shares and comments and things, but ultimately you need to be saying, hey, are you a target market that we're trying to reach? So are you a pet owner? Do you need pet services? Do you need grooming? Do you need boarding? Do you need your wellness checks? Do you need, what is it that you're trying to sell? And be very, very clear on that. I just said the word that might be considered a bad word in the veterinary market, in the veterinary industry, which is sell. But ultimately, you have to sell. And until a sale is made, until a person becomes a client, you can't help those clients and customers. So you do need to sell. So if you're going to be focusing a lot of your content creation natively inside of Facebook and Instagram and things like that, make sure that you have a call to action that, especially if you have something that's attention grabbing and you're segmenting your audience, make sure that the call to action is prepared and rehearsed and you know what you're going to be, what kind of action you're going to be asking people to take. So that is definitely problem number one. If people say, I've tried that and it doesn't work, the truth is it does work. Your clients and your customers are spending time on these social networks and on Google and on YouTube and all of these places. You have to really understand that you need to give people a clear offer and a clear way to take that offer. So think about that and make sure that that is set up before you get started. So the second biggest problem that I see with so many veterinary practices is that practice owners or practice managers or people that work inside a practice who are responsible for their practice's marketing, they just say, I don't have time to create content. Like, there's so many other things that I have to do. It's not that important. Can we just do ads? Can we just get clients coming in? And I totally get that. And understanding and wanting to drive clients in and things is very, very important. But at the same time, content is what gives you the way to communicate with your clients and your customers at scale so that you don't have to, one by one go out and contact these clients and find them and, basically educate them. So if you want to, use content as systems to help educate your clients, to attract the right kinds of clients, to, answer questions that you're always answering, it just is so helpful. I can't tell you how many times I've been approaching now my content as a system in my business. So if I have a question that keeps coming up, I'll make a video and explain how to do this. And then I'll be attracting people that will be asking that question anyways. So if it's something that is asked a lot, if it's something that's super common question, something that's valuable to the clients and customers, that is great content. So, content creation is 100% a priority, and it needs to be. You're going to go out of business if you don't create content sometime in the future here. And that's like a broad, extremely harsh statement to say, but you will get left behind. And it is not going to be pretty if you are not creating content. People need to know, like, and trust you at scale, and that's what content does, and that's the beauty of content. So instead of approaching content from a thing that you have to do, think of it as a thing you get to do. And that kind of mindset is going to be very, very important. Now, some really quick tips in getting content done, especially if you're time crunched. Number one, you need to batch your content. So when you sit down, you do it in a specific amount of time. You don't have to start and stop and start and stop. That kills efficiency. Number two, use tools that are easy for you to use. So is it going to be live video, live stream videos, live Instagrams? Are you going to create native content with your phone? Just make it as easy as possible and do as little post-production as possible. Unless you have the time, and maybe that's your job description, or you're going to put a ton of energy into it, and that's great. But if it's prohibiting you from creating that content, something is better than nothing. Something that's not perfect is better than something that's not created. And I know it's hard for veterinarians and veterinary professionals to get that, because you guys as an industry are perfectionists, and I totally get that. But that being said, you have to create content, and it needs to get done. So batch it, schedule it is the next important thing. If you know what you're going to be creating, what you're going to be talking about, what you're promoting, who the content's for, and you're very clear on all of that, it's very simple to go and create it then. You don't have to think about, what am I going to make this week? What am I going to make today? Should I talk about something? I'm too tired. I'm going to go home. Not worry about it. That's what happens. So if you know what you're going to be talking about, what's the topic, when are you going to create it, how are you going to create it, that takes a lot of pressure off from going through. And now it's just a part of your day. So it has to get done. It is as important as anything else in your practice. And so you need to make sure that it gets done. The last thing that I can think too is that as you're coming across other pieces of content, curating content is also a great way to get and distribute content to your clients and your customers. So you don't have to make everything. You can curate it with Snipply or other curation tools that let you get it out there and engage and segment your audience. So think about that, putting your commentary and your spin on top of a piece of content that's already made and sharing that out with your clients and customers is definitely the next best thing to creating your own content. So just wanted to say that as well. But you have to create content. It's so, so important. It drives your cost for engagements down on Facebook and Instagram when it comes to then targeting the ideal clients and ideal customers that are in your area and that can actually come into your practice. And let's talk about number 3, the biggest problem in marketing. And this typically results from not having a clear understanding of what your objectives are. But this is, how do we tell what's actually working? And so every time you create marketing pieces or content or offers or anything that you're creating, you need to have an end objective in mind. And so depending on what stage of the funnel you're trying to target, are you trying to create awareness? Are you trying to create evaluation? Are you trying to create a conversion? And then based on who you're targeting, what the content is, you need to understand exactly what is the purpose of this marketing. Everything in your marketing has a purpose. Headlines sell engagement, which is either like an open. So for example, if you're sending an email, your headline sells the open. The open sells reading the email. The reading sells going to some landing page. The landing page sells claiming the offer. Every single step along the way has an objective. Every single piece of content has an objective. And that being the case, you need to make sure that you're able to measure and monitor each one of these pieces. Now, I'm not saying that you need to measure every single micro conversion. The reason why we go into micro conversions, which are those mini steps along the way to the macro conversion, which is the end goal, is that we're able to diagnose and improve marketing with each one of those data points. But ultimately, in order to know, is this working, we need to be able to track what's going on, what's the objective that we're doing, who's the audience that we're targeting, and then what's the creative. I'm going to stress how important the creative is. It's so important that you're using images or a main idea or a big idea that's going to actually drive action. It used to be that you could get cheap engagement in Facebook and Instagram. It's getting more expensive. So anytime you do marketing, the more preparation that you can do in terms of creating a higher quality creative, that you can do in terms of creating and engaging with remarketing audiences, these are going to be so, so helpful for you. So it's really, really important to think about what is the end goal, what is the objective that we're looking to achieve, and then how can we measure that? We need to either figure out, are we going to be measuring this in the platform that it's happening in? Are we going to measure it in Google Analytics? Are we going to measure it in Google AdWords? Where are we measuring this action? And as much as possible, my suggestion to you is to make it simple. So marketing can get complicated, especially if you have multiple traffic channels, multiple campaigns for every traffic channel, and you're sending people all over the place. You know, if you have email campaigns going on, Facebook campaigns, AdWords campaigns, YouTube campaigns, just tons of stuff going on, both organic and paid, you're not going to necessarily know exactly what's happening. So anytime you can make it very simple, and that means if I'm running a Facebook ad campaign, I want to make sure that my pixels are installed so that I'm able to see where the conversions are coming from. I want to have that conversion pixel set up based on the objective that we have, and then really use the content and everything that we've put together to streamline the process and keep people engaged in a simple and very easy way. So the less friction that you can add to your funnel, the better you're going to do, simply because it's going to be easier for people to take action. So I know that's a long answer, but it takes a lot of preparation, making sure everything is set up properly, and making sure that the whole process is optimized so that you're able to convert as many of the audience that you have into clients and customers. Now, I know this was a little bit complicated in some sections. If you have any additional questions, be sure to head on over to the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group. And please, if you have any questions, comments, you need help with anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on next week's episode. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.